Sewing is my passion. Just like you, I love to join fabric pieces, laces, and trims, creating original designs. It seems to me that one of the things that makes our sewing sensational is learning good techniques. I love interesting techniques, and I think most of you know I love teaching the easy way. Today we have quilting techniques for you as well as machine embroidery, so come on in and let's start sewing. Welcome to my sewing room. I have the most wonderful baby day gown to share with you. It is so precious. It's made out of white handkerchief linen and has the little gingham shaped bias around, well, the bias is around the collar, of course, around the neckline, but the shaped bias comes around, and the sweetest little machine embroidered moon, and the little words that say sweet dreams, and tiny little blue stars. I love to use tatting for little boys' things. So this is a wonderful tatted piece, and you can see the beautiful bias strips are over here on the sleeve also with a little bit of tatting and the pin stitching. Oh, this is just so pretty. Now on the bottom there's another sweet strip of the bias with a pin stitching to attach it to the top and the wonderful, wonderful tatting. These are the kinds of little gowns I love to have babies come home from the hospital in, and also have the newborn pictures made in. It's really quite easy to do. First of all, to make the bias, the folded bias strip, you have a piece of bias. It's real critical to cut this little angle. It makes it a lot easier to run it through the bias tape maker. Then you run it through and you press it. And if you want to do scallops, which is shaped bias, you trace the scallops off. It's very important to have these miter lines drawn. Let me show you why. Now you're getting ready to start pinning your scallops. I pin on the bottom and I've mitered here, then come around and pin. And I've got a little bit of floppiness there. That's okay, it's going to go away. All right, to miter, there's a pin at the top, a pin at the bottom, then I fold it back on itself, remove the bottom pin that goes through 2 layers, and a perfect miter is folded in. Now this one has been finished, except if you will look carefully, we have some floppiness here. Since this is bias, it's simply going to be steamed and pressed, and it will press right into shape. Then pin stitch along the bottom. Don't use orange thread. Pin stitch the bottom, pin stitch the top, and you have a beautiful shaped bias. I'm so happy to have today my dear friend Connie Palmer. Connie is an educator for Husqvarna Viking, and Connie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be here. You know that. So I'm going to go back over the steps for you for the shaped bias, because it is a lot of fun and it's very, very easy, and it's sort of like a free trim.
It looks so hard.
Yeah, I know it looks hard. It's very easy. So the first thing you want to do is mark your scallops. Now I have used a permanent marker, but of course you're going to want to use just a blue water-soluble pen. And then you're going to cut your bias strips, and you want to press the very end of it real well with starch. You want to starch it real well and cut it at an angle, and then all you have to do is slide it right into that bias tape maker. And then if you'll just use a pin, you can scoot it right up in there like that, and then you just start pressing. So it makes it very simple. And then you're going to start shaping your bias. And of course you want to pin in the bottom, and you want to pin your miter at the bottom, pin it at the top, fold it back on itself, repin the bottom, and you have perfect miters all the way around. It's very simple. Now this one has pinned all the way around, and you have all of this problem up here because you need everything to lie flat. So we're going to use this precious little craft iron. It's so tiny as it looks like for dolls. So then you're just going to take the iron and press that. You can put a little spritz of starch on it and just press it around there, and that'll just go flat as anything. Okay, now to sew it. That's the next thing. We're going to take our stabilizer, and we're going to put in a 100 needle. We want a big fat round needle so that we get the holes. And you want to make sure that you sew the bottom first, because that's the part that's lying flat, and then we'll actually sew the top. So that's what I'll start sewing for you right now. So I'm going to put a pin stitch on, and I have my open toe foot, and the open toe foot just is open, and it has a big red dot on it. So we'll pull up the pin stitch on here real quick. And of course, we call this Peggy's pin stitch, don't we?
We do call it Peggy's pin stitch because Peggy Dillborn, our very own friend, developed
exactly.
that.
So it's a lot of fun
also
to
called
do.
perfect pin stitch.
Perfect pin stitch. So we're just going to flip that over here, and we are going to put the red dot of the open toe foot right on the header. So if we keep the red dot, I'm not on the header, I'm sorry, well, right on the folded fabric. I think I'm doing lace. Right on the edge of the bias strip, then it'll come out just perfect. So you can see I've already done the one side for you, so you just sew right around, and it's just as easy as can be.
Connie, these techniques are just what make baby clothes and little children's clothes,
really
as far
is.
as I'm concerned.
And I think your viewers will really like it and get a lot of use out of this technique.
That's so sweet. We ought to have little William's picture baby that day.
We should. We'll do it.
He's just 3 weeks old, so that would be just the perfect thing for a portrait. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And now Connie has some sewing inspirations to share with you. Connie, I just love these two pillowcases that you have done, actually shams. And you see, this is just my favorite, and this shows that it isn't just for baby clothes, that wonderful shape bias. With the pin stitching, this wonderful monogram, and there's an M.
Right.
I think you said if we turn it upside down, it becomes a W. But that has to be an M for Martha. And that is one version of with the Madeira applique on the edge. And then this is another version with the wonderful ecru. And you know, Connie, for the world, that looks exactly like hand embroidery.
It doesn't look like hand embroidery.
Built
it's
into
built
the
in the machine.
And it looks, I looked at it and I thought, Connie, you're not doing hand embroidery.
No.
But the beautiful shaped bias, the Madeira borders.
Right.
And this is another sweet little boy day gown with the shaped bias coming down, well, actually mitered and then curved, and a little tiny sailboat. This is so cute. And this is another one of my very, very favorites, the little sundress with the little beach scene and the scallops on the bottom. Let's just see if we can look at the scallops on the bottom of this dress, which is what you've just shown. Just so sweet. Elegant and simple for a little girl just to wear. I think this would be a great dress to wear to go out to dinner at Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Right, exactly.
Do you think that's a good thing to do?
Right.
Connie, thank you so much.
You.
And now Connie has a Sew Quick and a Sew Easy project for you. Connie, I just love this lace alphabet that you've done. Also, we can see the scalloped and the curved lace. But tell us about this alphabet.
Well, it's basically an applique, only after you sew it the first time with the first color, you put actual lace behind it and then finish the embroidery and then trim away the lace.
And you have you talk about an elegant bedroom. This looks like it came from one of those fabulous shops in France or London or somewhere. Another one of the little applique.
Right, this is initials.
The initials are just wonderful.
I did Michelle's initials on that one.
Okay. Oh, look at this. We're having little.
And of course, we're having a baby. You know that.
Yes, I know you've got a great grandson coming.
Well, don't know if it's a son,
that's right.
But I'm making boy things that maybe we'll have a girl.
You kind of want a girl,
right? I do,
but you got a lot of boy things.
Right.
Look at this. I love the net letters with the
fabric
gingham behind it. And then this is another one, the same thing with the lace behind it. Okay, Connie, how easy is this to make?
Okay. Well, now, we don't have to make a very big project. If you have a party you have to go to or a gift you need to take to somebody, a real quick gift is just to do one letter and frame it like this. It's so cute, and you can pick up a little frame like this in any craft store. It's a little shadow box frame. This particular one just snaps together, and then of course you can just put it on a little stand. So that makes it real nice. So the first thing you need to do, of course, is embroider out your letter, and then cut out the fabric to the size of the backing. Of course, you want that to be white because you want it to show through, or color if you wanted a color, it doesn't matter. But now my mat was brown, so it wasn't very pretty. So what I decided to do was add lace and ribbon to the mat. So I just cut pieces of white silk satin ribbon and glued it, and you can just use some kind of fabric glue. Put the glue around, cut your strips, put it on there, cut some lace, then use the same glue and glue it on. And that makes it real simple. And then when you're all finished, you'll take the whole mat, and let's see if I can find where I put the embroidery. I left it over here, I apologize. So you just put everything together, put your glass on, and then if this one came with little clips, you just clip it all together, and of course you have this beautiful little gift. And then here's another little, this was just a purchased linen piece, a coaster, and I put an initial on, so that could be a very easy gift for you to take too. So there's really two things.
Oh, and I just have to show our viewers one more time. We just absolutely have to look at this baby pillow. And Connie, you've got your little bias pieces on. Now these are also just purchased pillowcases.
Right, that's just
we're
purchased.
Talking easy.
We're talking real easy. And this one you could put pink ribbon, and I put a blue pillow inside here, but see that could be pink, so you could change and put for a baby girl.
Or yellow. Or
yellow, whatever you want to do. But that's all one hooping too, Martha. That's all one hooping. That's not even, so that's real nice.
I just cannot imagine everyone viewing this not wanting to. You know what? It doesn't even have to be a grandchild or great-grandchild. This can be the perfect present to take to a baby
shower gift.
Oh, is this the perfect present?
Right.
Talk about being the star of the shower.
Exactly.
And this was done in one hooping?
One hooping, mm-hmm.
Oh, Connie,
all I did was put it up on the screen, all the letters up on the screen, embroider it out, and then you have in an hour you can have a gift to go, and you have no problem.
Connie, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. These are just wonderful.
Thanks.
And next I have some machine embroidery to share with you. I'm so happy to have as my guest today Lindee Goodall. Lindee is Vice President of Creative Designs for Cactus Punch. Lindee, welcome to the show.
Hi, Martha. It's great to be here. Today we're going to talk about hoops because it can be so overwhelming how to choose a hoop for whatever it is you're going to embroider on. Most new machines today come with two hoops. You have what we call the small standard, and then we have a large one. And a lot of people think just because everything will fit in the large one, they should just use the large one all the time. And that's not always the best choice. You really want to pick the smallest hoop for the design as a general rule. And there are some exceptions. So let's look first at this garment, and we're going to look at these two hoops, and we're going to try to decide what kind of hoop we should use. Now we could combine all of these designs, these are actually 3 separate designs, and hoop it in one hooping like that, or we could hoop it one at a time. We could do this one, actually I would start in the middle, then do one, and then do the other one. And I would probably do that on this t-shirt because this is a knit, it tends to stretch, and you want to keep that distortion as minimal as possible. So I would probably just rehoop it each time.
Very interesting. Huh.
So I'll pass that to you.
Okay.
Now we do have some specialty hoops going on, and sometimes it's nice to use a specialty hoop because this could go in this large hoop, but look at all this extra space you have. Plus I've used batting in here, and this is actually so thick that it wouldn't be easy to hoop in this. It would probably just pop right out. So we would probably want to get a specialty hoop like this one and see how nicely that design fits in there.
It fits perfectly.
It's perfect.
Not too much shifting and changing, huh?
Now here's another specialty hoop. And this is the size hoop that I would want to use for this little yoke area here. Even though we might want to probably just use our regular hoop, this one more closely fits this area. So I would use this kind of hoop. Now I'm going to swap down here to another specialty hoop because on the border I used a specialty hoop, and this is one that it just lifts up. This clamp lifts up, goes the other way, and you just slide your fabric through. You do a section, slide it, do a section. And a lot of times you'll find that because this hoop is slightly smaller than this one, the machine might tell you to use this hoop. But because this is a specialty hoop and it doesn't hold quite as well as putting the fabric in between the rings like we would on this one, I would probably use this one instead of this one.
Okay.
So we'll set that aside. Now, we do have these humongous hoops where it's actually sewing 2 sections. So it embroiders this one, you move the hoop, and it sews another section. And these are great when you have to have perfect alignment. So we're going to use that to get the perfect alignment, and it's great that way. So I'll pat that one over. We also have round hoops. I like round hoops because they get very good gripping. They grip evenly all the way around. Now there is an interesting thing to note about this. This design looks like it fits perfectly in here, but this you should consider as a square hoop. So if it doesn't fit in this hoop, which it doesn't, it's not going to fit in this hoop. So you have to use a little smaller design. So that's sort of interesting. What did you
do this one in?
I did that one in this hoop.
In the larger hoop?
Yes.
Okay. I got you. Fascinating.
Now little baby things can be tricky because sometimes we have these little bitty areas, and these are great for just inserting and doing a small area. If I were going to do this one, I would probably hoop a sticky stabilizer and then just stick this down in the sticky stabilizer to embroider that area.
Rather than putting it in the hoop.
And this one, we actually, instead of doing it in a little round hoop like this, because this is so thick, we also did that on the sticky.
Little bedroom shoes.
So we'll let you take that. And then my last sample here is a pair of jeans that we've embroidered all the way down the sides, and that was once again done in this hoop. So we've hooped sections and repeating it, and down here at the bottom we just used one of our regular sized hoops to do the little extra piece down at the bottom.
Now I guess you took the inside seam to do these blue jeans. I guess you took this inside seam
we took
apart
the inside seams out
and laid it flat, and then went right over those seams there. Oh, Lindee, this is so exciting. Thank you for sharing this lesson on hooping. It makes it very simple the way you told it.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you so much. And next, I have a quilting segment for you. All of you mothers and grandmothers out there, this is the quilt that you just have to make. This is a nursery rhyme quilt, and I think it's not only wonderful and warm and cuddly, you can do so much singing with your children or your grandchildren or your neighbors or your favorite children of any age, little children. This, of course, the quilt is fun and wonderful and easy to construct, but here's, I caught myself a baby bumblebee, want my mommy to be so proud of me, and you probably don't want me to sing. But this one is a little ducky daddle, and this one is I'm a little teapot, so you can let your little one point to one of these and then you can sing along. This one's Ring Around the Rosies, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and Mary Had a Little Lamb. It goes all the way down, even with the ABC song, and you know how little ones love to sing that ABC song. Now, we have it in bright colors, which of course your little ones would love, but we also have a version to show you here, which is done in pastels. This would be the sweetest quilt to do a nursery, to make this for a nursery, and it has the pastel colors. Well, actually the brights are very popular now with nursery designers, but this would just be so cute. And here are some more of the nursery rhymes. This is Knick Knack Paddywhack Give the Dog a Bone, and this one is Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and here's the ABC one down here. Now I know my ABCs. Oh, I just absolutely love this quilt. It's very, very easy to put together. And I just think this is one of the fun things about quilting, and especially about heirloom quilting. You know we love to do quilts for little ones and babies, and since I'm a mother and a grandmother, you know that appeals to me. And a lot of my little ones really do. We love to read the nursery rhymes, and we love to sing those songs. Now this is a little sort of a leftover square we had. It said Little Ducky Daddle, and it has these wonderful little tabs on the edge, which makes a fun pillow. And it's really easy to put that quilt together. You simply, it's a 9-patch, except it's really a 12-patch. So you have a square and you put the side pieces on it. For those of you that have never made a quilt, I'm going to just show you how easy it is, really. You have your square that has the machine embroidery on it, and you attach your sashing to the side. Then there's another piece of sashing and the little end pieces. We need 2 of those, one at the top and one at the bottom. Then those are attached, and this is what we look like. So we have a number of pieces here. Once again, the machine embroidery is on the inside. Now I need to attach these larger pieces to each other. So I press the seams, and I'm going to do one more seam, and I open it up, and this really is my quilt pieces, and I'll make them to go down and then to go across. Now you know we're going to have the nursery rhymes embroidered in the center there. So here we are, all sewn together, and I don't know whether I like the bright one the best or the pastel one the best. I think it just really depends on what kind of nursery, or just a baby to drag this one around, or a little toddler to drag this one around. And of course you want to be sure that you do a quilt label on the back that says for whom it was made, and most importantly, who made it. They need to know that it was made by mother, or made by grandmother, or made by an aunt. Just build the family memories into quilting. That's what, to me, heirloom sewing and quilting are all about, building family memories. And I just can imagine that there will be lots of memories made if you decide to do a nursery rhyme quilt for some of your little ones. Now won't you join me in my parlor for a beautiful piece of clothing from my vintage collection. This wonderful long white baby dress was probably made between 1860 and 1880. Now, how do I know that? There are some little tricks. The scoop neck is an indicator that it was really before 1880, because that was the fashion for baby clothes. Now this little sleeve, the short sleeve, is another indicator that it's a very early piece, because around 1900 sleeves began to be long sleeves and the neckline came up. This is made out of Swiss embroideries. The little sleeves have a piece of Swiss insertion and a little piece of Swiss eyelet gathered to make the bottom of the sleeve. As you can see, the Swiss edging goes all the way down the front of the dress, and it's a very interesting style. Do you see how it's princess? It's unbroken all the way down the front. That's a very old piece also, very old style. 1, 2, 3, 4 tucks here. These are folded tucks, and then another piece of insertion and a piece of edging placed flat. 1, 2, 3, 4 tucks, more insertion and edging. The 4 tucks are used all the way down the skirt. It's a very, very beautiful skirt. It's a long dress, and around the bottom of the skirt you can see that the front panel gets wider, and the insertion was used along the bottom with the edging at the bottom of the insertion. And then, as was so typical of these dresses of the era, all the way around the back has the tucks, and this one has 3 tucks in the insertion, and really not much other trim. I have a wonderful letter here for our Sewing from the Heart today from a lady by the name of Sherrod West, who is from Florida. Dear Martha, I'm involved with Sew-and-Sews at Anona United Methodist Church in Largo, Florida. We meet every Wednesday to make prayer quilts. The quilts are in 5-inch blocks, 9 across and 13 down. The size is large enough to cover a person having chemotherapy. There is a cross in the center of each quilt. However, we have been known to modify for our Jewish friends. Each square of the quilt has a yarn to tie. In our Sunday services, the name of the quilt recipient and the need for prayer is announced. All worshipers are asked to tie a knot and say a prayer for the person that is to receive the quilt. Each knot represents a prayer. We require that the recipient be contacted first and agree to having his or her need announced, as well as their accepting the prayers. Each quilt has a label which reads as follows. This quilt is made with love and prayers for and the person's name. From Anona United Methodist Church, it gives the month and the year and the quilt number. This group started about 6 years ago, and we are close to quilt number 500. 1 quilt each week for 6 years would equal 312. We often have to limit the number of quilts to 4 each Sunday. Much of our fabric is donated, and quilt recipients also donate generously. The letters we receive from recipients testify to the power of prayer. The love and fellowship of the Sew-and-Sews is an added bonus to the group. We have non-sewers who cut the squares and lay out the quilt tops. We have people who sew the tops together. We have others who add the backing and do the binding. Other people make the labels, and it's a wonderful project. Sincerely, Sherrod West. Thank you for joining me. Won't you come back next time?